Good afternoon. It is Monday, February the 23rd. It's now 5:15 p.m. and the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners work session is in session. I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Foss? Here. Commissioner Chismar?
Here.
Commissioner Taylor?
Here.
And Commissioner Hanley?
Here.
All right, everybody's here. So first, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Hanley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Any changes to the agenda, discussion? No? All right, Mr. France?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for the vote to approve the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners work session meeting agenda for Monday, February 23rd, 2026. Commissioner Foss,
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Hanley,
Aye.
and Chair Edding. This evening's agenda is approved. Thank you.
The Town Administrator's report.
Good evening, Madam Chair. I'm pleased to report I have no report this evening.
All right, we're moving right along then.
Right along.
All right, the tentative agenda for our town meeting, which will be on March the 2nd at 7 p.m. here in Town Hall. First, we'll have the presentation recognizing Lieutenant Robert Farr on his retirement from the Bel Air Police Department. Chief?
Yes, we have a proclamation prepared for you, and this is to recognize his 28 years of service with the Bel Air Police Department, and we'll have it ready for you to present.
All right. We're certainly sorry to lose him, but it was
Me
great to
too.
have him while we
Yep.
did, and people have to move on and
Yep.
to other things. So under new business, we'll have the town boundary annexation contract. Mr. Small, is that you?
Yeah, we've talked about this many times before.
Many
So I
times.
won't go into detail on what you've seen before. The new quote from the Architectural Engineering Services and Surveying Services from Frederick Ward is $42,500. That the budgeted amount was $25,000. That was because we put that in, a year ago, and we weren't sure exactly what services were going to be needed to produce these exhibits for the annexation documents. So that obviously went up. So you're looking at about 17.5 increase for the what was budgeted. What we can do is one of two things. We can reduce the amount of scope that they have to do, meaning the less annexation documents, or we can find the money.
We have the money. We have the money.
I was relatively sure we had the money if it was appearing on our agenda. My concern is, though, it's like how did we come up with the original estimate, dollar figure?
Actually, the original estimate was $15,000. I
Mhm.
added $10,000 to it because it didn't sound enough. Again, what they're producing is they're going out surveying the properties, and they're doing research into the history of these properties as to what exists right now versus what was annexed into the town. And then they produce a plat and a description, because both the plat and the description are required by the state for annexing into the town. So each one of those varies slightly depending on what unknowns there are out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of them, like Shamrock Road Pumping Station, which I think you saw some of the details on. Requires a lot more research than, say, the property on Kelly Avenue, because it's there, very accessible, and the history is pretty plain. So it varies here and there. I'll send the proposal that I just received from Fred Ward to you all for review, and you'll get a paper copy with the package.
Okay. And we did not bid this out to get other estimates on the cost?
It's based on a piggyback with Harford
Okay.
County.
Okay. So it's an hourly rate kind of a thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Did they give an estimate of how long the process would take?
I asked, or I'm theorizing, and again, I ain't gonna be here, so you guys do whatever you want. But is splitting this into two phases. One is what I would call the low-hanging fruit, the stuff that is not anticipated to require some permissions and some negotiation with the property owners and or adjacent property owners. So there's 4 of those that are relatively straightforward, and I think those could be done this summer. And then the rest I could see happening next fall.
So just for fiscal reasons, does it make any sense to split it between the two fiscal years? In other words, set the contract up in 2 phases or whatever, so
It-
pay
this would-
pay some with this FY and some with next FY?
This would all be signed this fiscal year because it's in this fiscal year. So therefore, it's just the contract's going to be performed next fiscal year, but it's all part of FY '26.
My suggestion is if we have the money this fiscal year, then let's
Do it.
spend it.
Spend it,
Let's
right.
encumber it this fiscal year.
Right.
Yep, because we don't know what our budget is gonna look like next year, so let's go with the known and not the unknown.
Okay, makes sense.
All right. Any more questions about the annexation contract? All right, thank you. Next is the Alice Ann Park Improvement Contract. Kelly?
Yes, that's the next one. This is through Game Time. It's the same Omnia contract that we've used in the past. This is for the fitness cluster. I call it a cluster, but it's a fitness grouping of stations that is in Alice Ann Park. This includes poured-in-place rubberized surface and some edging, and then all of the equipment that's associated with that. I again, will send that information out to everyone tomorrow or the next day. The total is $117,891.95. We're getting a more detailed proposal from them, and we should receive that this week. What it does, it takes the price, gives the discount for what's under the Omnia, and then the total. Then we'll proceed. The only other outstanding issues that'll be done with a separate contract are the asphalt for the new asphalt for the basketball court, the trail or pathway connection from this park to Lester Way, the AED unit, and then there's some landscaping that's done. Landscaping will come from fee and lieu monies for forest conservation. And we're hoping that the pathway and the basketball court is under the total amount, which is going to be about $156,000. So 117, 156, and that's the difference.
So how long have we been putting in the rubberized surface? I know we've done several parks, so how old's the oldest one?
Oldest one is Shamrock. That
And
one's
that's
about
only
4 years old.
4 years old?
Yes, something
Okay,
like
and
that.
how are they holding up?
I haven't seen anything that's been a problem. I've only been out there a couple of times.
Okay, I see Mr. Klein shaking his head, no problems. Okay, that's good.
I think the only thing that's an issue that I've seen with the county parks, and of course, they've been around over, Annie's Park has been around at least 12,
Good
13
while.
years. Wherever you have a spinning, a piece of equipment,
Mhm.
you can tell it's wearing where the kids are running on the outside. But I
Because it
haven't
gets a
seen,
tremendous amount, like the middle of a stair tread, it gets a lot of use.
yeah. But, yeah, that's all I've ever seen on any of those.
So Kevin, the total, so it's 117?
117 for the fitness cluster, yeah.
For the fitness cluster, and then with the other improvements with the basketball court and the that includes the surface, rubber surface?
That includes the surface, the 117.
Okay, 117. And then we have the basketball court, the pathway, landscaping. You said that was going to be another
The total is 156.
150.
We anticipate, because what ended up happening with this quote, we got the quote again last summer, or even earlier than that. It was, again, during the budget process. There was an escalation. So the quote was like 103 or 106. I can't remember the total amount. And so that Omnia contract escalates every year.
Right.
So we got caught behind that escalation. It ended up to be about another 10,000. One of the things that we're working with Upper Chesapeake on is they owe the town $10,000 in public amenity funds. So we're asking them to contribute, and they saw the plans and are very excited about them because it kind of works with their idea of fostering fitness in the community.
Health and wellness, yeah.
And Drescher has also contributed quite a bit. along with Greater Bel Air Community Foundation.
Any further questions about the Allison improvements? All right, next we have the Verizon wireless contract. Mr. Krantz, is that you? Right.
Yes, it is. Thank you. I was just doing a little math in anticipation of you calling on me. This is for cell phones. So in a nutshell, Town of Bel Air issues cellular devices to many employees in the town, including the police department. These are handheld devices, modems mounted in public safety vehicles, all critical for day-to-day communication and definitely essential in emergency situations. The Town of Bel Air is able to obtain a competitively bid pricing in accordance with the procurement guidelines by utilizing General Services Administration Federal Supply Service contract for cellular service awarded to Verizon. This would be for about 130 units in accordance with the rate plans, and that comes out to about $75,382. However, staff is going to ask that that be authorized by the Board of Town Commissioners as an amount not to exceed. And that's because we have about 103 active lines of service that are all utilized by every department across the board, including administration, my department, finance, economic development, planning, public works, and the majority of them in the police department. However, keep in mind that the town only pays for active units or active lines of service. So this authorization and the amount not to exceed leaves room to add additional lines of service if necessary. So you'll see that come before you for a vote at the Monday Town Hall meeting. This is very, very similar, almost identical to what you voted on last year, in 2024. And I'm a little tardy in getting this before you for this fiscal year.
So this is the contract for the actual cell phone service, not the phones themselves, but the
Correct.
service. Do you know, is it like gone up since the last one?
The last time we asked you to approve 72,483, so it must have gone up a little bit.
But not a tremendous amount.
Lisa's shaking her head no.
It's still $39.99.
Oh, it's the
A
same
line? Got it.
per line,
So
okay.
It's because they give us an estimate of equipment charges, so that fluctuates, and our number of lines, maximum number of lines may have fluctuated between last time and this time, but it is still the same $39.99 per month per line, flat charge.
Got it.
Our
Makes sense.
technology manager did add from 125 units to 130 units, so that might be that little difference right there. Yeah.
All right. Any more questions about the Verizon contract?
I haven't sent the paperwork to you yet, so hopefully this week I'll have it to you before the end of the week.
You can't
Okay.
operate anymore without cell phones, as we found out when Verizon went down. But our phones did not go down because we were on the special network and still had service, which was great for keeping town hall running. All right. Next, the reappointment to the Cultural Arts Commission, which we will take up in detail in closed session. And now moving on to unfinished business that we'll see next week. Ordinance 852-26, amending the Bel Air Town Code, Chapter 37, elections. Mike?
I just put, matter of fact, this ordinance and all the other ordinances on the agenda as unfinished business. I know they were thoroughly discussed when they were introduced at the last town hall meeting, so since I literally don't recall the last time we'd introduced so many ordinances at a single meeting, I thought it best to just list them for transparency's sake at today's work session. Not that I anticipate any discussion unless you have any questions. I don't have anything to add
Yeah, I think
to
think we certainly-
852 nor 853, and I'd have to ask Mr. Small if he has anything to add to 854, 55, 56, or 57.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions about, we'll start with 852-26, the elections one. I know we discussed that in detail, and it's really a housekeeping measure sort of caused by the action that was at the state, and we're sort of cleaning up our code so that we're in compliance and everything says how it actually operates now.
And everything is posted on the legislation page of the Town of Bel Air website for those watching at home, if you want to see the legislation, it is there for you to read.
Right. And I see they're posted on our front door as well, so you can walk on down. The other one was ordinance 853-26, amending the Town Code, Chapter 82, Personnel, Section 82-3B5, which we also discussed in detail previously. Anyone have any further items they want to discuss about that section?
I did. Is that the one regarding the deputy director?
Correct. We're just adding 2 words, and deputy.
Yeah, I have some reservations about that, after kind of, looking into it, and I think my biggest reservation about that is I feel like it, I mean, we're policy and administration, and I feel like that kind of shifts us into operational management. I feel like, with our, town administrator that we have, and that's really kind of his job to oversee that. And then also what about the accountability of the deputy director? Are they accountable to us since we approved that, or?
Well, we also approved the directors,
Yes.
so they would be accountable
So
in the
they would be
same way.
accountable. Yes, but that's also, that's in that admin. I just feel like it just kind of, it's just another layer of approval.
Mhm.
And after really thinking about it, I really don't think we need that.
Okay.
And wrote some notes on it too. And I just think that it's, that oversight, I don't think we need to be involved in the direct hiring of that, because they are accountable to their department heads. And that we have a professional administrator that can kind of oversee that. And I don't want us to ever give the impression of like overreach. And I completely respect where you're coming from, and I know that your love for the town and for all, but I just feel like the accountability kind of becomes a little diluted when we go into that deputy director. And I think that we need to put our, I don't want to say trust, I guess the word's trust or faith into the directors in the hiring of that. And I just think that's something that we need to just not be a part of. Our job is to govern and not manage.
I appreciate that, and I certainly, have no questions about your love for the town either. It's a simple policy disagreement, and that's what we're here for. We
That's
have
right.
we have policy disagreements. There's no doubt about that. I continue to think that expanding the current process that we have regarding directors to deputy directors is wise policy. Like I just wanted to stress at the last meeting, I'm not attempting to change at all the actual process. That will continue the same. The only difference is the number of officials that it applies to, in this case, adding a handful of deputy directors. So that's my position. I appreciate where you're coming from. It's not my goal to micromanage the actual HR process at all. It's simply to add that last backstop at the final, if you will, the final train stop on the station that we have when it comes to directors.
Absolutely, and I hope I did not give that impression at all, that you were trying to micromanage that. Not at all, so.
And as a matter of fact, we won't be managing anybody on a daily basis. This is strictly just as part of the hiring process. All right. Anyone else? All right, in that case, we will move on to ordinance 854-26, amending the Bel Air Town Code, Chapter 165, Comprehensive Plan and Development Regulations regarding freestanding signs. Kevin, I know this has got to be you. Right?
I don't have anything to add other than what was last week. Mostly, I think when Mike and I talked, it was an idea that if Commissioner Chismar had anything that he wanted to say, because some of these kind of had their nexus in his brain. So I thought give him a chance to make any comment he would like.
On the signs?
Well, I think it's mostly for the permitted uses, but.
Yeah, I think it was for the permitted uses, yeah, I just thought
Well,
there
we'll
was some
we'll start with the signs.
differences, yeah.
Anyone have
But
any
anyway.
more comments on the signs? Okay, in that case, we're going to move on to 855-26, which is the permitted use tables.
Right, 855, yeah. No, I think it just, that was more cleanup and putting things in the right sections.
Mhm.
And, yeah, I had some discussion about some of the things, but I'm okay with the way it stands right now, about some of the, for some uses in which zones they should be.
Just to make
in,
it
but I
less
think-
confusing, I
yeah.
think, is what helps.
Right.
Right, this was sort of a cleanup housekeeping thing.
Yeah.
The engineer reviewed this and saw the details that needed to be maybe finer point on them, and I appreciate
All the
that.
ducks had to be in a row.
All the
right?
ducks
Had
need to be in a row.
right?
I appreciate that.
They
We
can't
need
be out
to.
of line, right?
No, we don't want that. And really, it's,
Right.
people look at those tables for direction. So
Yes.
it is good to make sure that they are clear, and I think that's a great thing that you took a look at that and made sure that it is all clear. Anything else on 855-26? All right, 856-26, which is the performance standards and development guidelines by use, and amending some guidelines in 2 sections of the code.
I've got a question. If somebody unknowingly were to put up some barbed wire, would they be penalized for that?
No, I think what we would do is go out and inspect. I mean, usually what typically happens is we respond based on complaints. And if somebody complained that, hey, such and such has just put up barbed wire, you know, next to my property or on the front of their property, we'd go out and inspect and take a look. And then if there's something there where, let's say that person had a complaint about their dogs getting out over their fence or something, I'm making that up right now, but it's, then we would take that into account, and then Director of Public Works would make a determination whether or not that's appropriate to go ahead and what we would do is issue a new fence permit that would have that. And they wouldn't have to pay any money because the fence is already there, but it would just account for the additional barbed wire.
And anybody that currently has barbed wire on top of their fence is grandfathered in.
Is grandfathered in.
So they don't need a permit, they don't need to pay any money, they don't need to do anything except
Right.
No, but if
Not
they
make a
expanded the
change,
fence,
right.
that's when.
they make it 2 feet taller, or they add another 4 linear feet to it or something like that, they'll need to come in and get a permit.
Correct.
Okay.
Is that in a zone, Kevin, a particular zone?
No, it's in all zones.
The Public Works has barbed wire on top of our fence.
We would have to give ourselves,
Fine.
I guess we're
Pass.
grandfathers, right?
We are grandfathered.
So there you go.
There
You can
go.
also give yourself approval, because you're the guy who
Right.
makes the decision.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll have a,
Protect our trucks.
that is what I see as the biggest use for this, and not so much, I know you use dogs, but I have only really seen this where people are trying to protect their expensive construction equipment, and it's behind a fence, but they want to make sure they dissuade anybody that is, tempted to climb with something a little additional, and I totally understand that.
where I've seen it is probably 80% of the time is in the M1 district, in the industrial zone.
Right, me too. All right.
So, Kevin, the only thing I have is, what you're talking about this is, the wording says elements such as barbed wire or Jersey barriers are prohibited without a temporary permit.
Now, I changed that, I took the word temporary out.
Okay.
You may have an old version of that.
Okay,
Yeah,
there-
so this allows it
apparently I
to be
do.
a permanent,
right, that's why I was
approval.
just,
yeah, I think we had talked about that when
Okay.
at a work session, and I think that was a
Right,
good
because our concern was
catch.
things like Public Works or other locations that have expensive equipment behind a fence, and they want to
Right,
make sure
where
it's
it'd have to
secure.
be there permanently, yeah.
but that was the only thing I had, as long as it's not temporary. Yeah,
Right.
in those cases.
Anything else on ordinance 856-26?
I think I'm outnumbered here, but I do like the idea of just allowing it in the industrial districts, because I think a lot of those kind of, like, blue-collar guys, I don't know how enthusiastic they would be about having to come to town hall and fill out a form to get their permit and then go back and install it. I think a lot of them would prefer to just be able to do it, but
Well, do remember, if they're putting in a new fence, they're gonna have to come in anyway. And this, if they have an existing fence out there, they wouldn't have to do a thing.
I'm not sure how Maryland American has addressed some of their infrastructure with barbed wire either, which we would want, so no one can mess with the town's water system.
That will be important.
Yes.
And those would be, are they sprinkled around where they have those, or are they all?
There is several. Of
That's-
course, we have the main tower, we have 2 big towers.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have the pump station over off of Ellendale Street, right there behind the pizza place right
Mhm.
there, is a little pump station. So yes, we do have some, and we have our well.
Steve, could you put your mic on?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And we have the well down going into Public Works. It's a
Right,
pretty
not all things we
important
want to
piece of
be
infrastructure there. And I know
protected.
that does have barbed wire.
I'm kind of soft on the barbed wire in the M1 as well.
There are some non-industrial uses in M1 though. So if we open it up for M1, there's a handful of people who, you know, I just don't see that. I don't see that it's too much of an
That's true.
hindrance to say, you know,
That's
if
true.
you're making a major change to your property anyway, you've got to go through.
That's true. You
very
have to get a
basic-
fence permit if
Right.
you're doing anything to your fence or putting up a new fence, so, okay.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that our water towers, water pumping stations, water anything are protected, as well as, you know, the businesses that do have expensive equipment that they're keeping in a secure yard. I want to make sure that they have the ability to do that, but I kind of agree with you that it's not a big deal to, you have to get a permit if you're putting up a fence anyway. And you can just say barbed wire, and if you're making changes, making the fence longer, taller, whatever, you're supposed to come in and get a permit as well. So it's not too much more to ask. So, and it's really, it is all based on complaint, and, you know, it's not like we go out and drop $1,000 fine on anybody. We go out and say, hey, you need a
Right,
permit.
right.
So.
Help us out. And one of the things to remember is that there are places in the M1 that back to residential. And if somebody has a little kid and doesn't want to, I mean, it allows the town to have a little bit of control over how that's applied.
All right, I'm comfortable. Especially since if people already have it, they don't have to do anything.
Right.
All right, anything more on 856-26? All right, moving on to ordinance 857-26. Administration and enforcement, we are adding a reference to the Maryland Code Alcoholic Beverages and Cannabis, Section 22-1602, regarding waivers. That was something that was discovered during our in-depth review of the cannabis law and the interplay with the town code, and our council discovered that there was a hole in our town code because we did not have a provision for this, and we need to. So that is going to, it's sort of a housekeeping thing. Anybody have any questions on that? All right. In that case, we're speeding right along to Commissioner Liaison Reports. I'll start. The Tree Committee did meet, and much of the discussion was about spring is coming. Arbor Day, our Arbor Day celebration will be the first day of the farmer's market, which is in April. They're talking about, you know, getting the trees, preparing the trees, and this year they're going to probably have a handful of flyers for people on how to properly plant trees and take care of them, because the mulch volcanoes that you see that look so attractive are bad for trees. Who knew? I thought that was the standard. So my trees do not have any mulch volcanoes since I've learned that, but they're gonna hand that out so people can, you know, do a good job at planting their trees and take care of it. And they're also gonna have like one of those QR codes so that those people that, I find it handy because pieces of paper just get lost in the big pile of paper. It's nice for folks to have as an alternative. If they run out, folks can use their phone camera and still get the same information. They also talked about the Major's Choice Oak, which has been evaluated, but one of the branches is reaching out across the sidewalk and probably needs to be cabled for safety reasons. So they're gonna take a look at that, as well as fertilizing the tree and making sure that it, you know, stays healthy. So it's a beautiful tree. It's massive. So it's spring is coming eventually.
We also did achieve Tree City USA again.
Yes, and we discussed Tree City USA because we need a resolution passed by the board. So we want to make sure we get that on the schedule in time for the deadline. How long have we had Tree City? 30 years? 33 years? It's been a really long time. And we did meet the deadline last year, but there was a little bit of a hurry up because it almost got to be a drop ball, but somebody realized it at the end, so we want to make sure that we get that on the list this year and don't have anything go wrong, because we want a continued unbroken stretch of being Tree City USA. All right.
ECDC did meet at this point, not 2 full weeks ago, but it wasn't last week, it was the week before, and they held their belated officer election. So I would extend the board's congratulations to the newly elected chair, Gil Kennedy, and the newly elected vice chair, Todd Boyle. Chris Street and Tucker McNulty had served in those positions for a number of years. They decided that it was just time for them to take a membership role in the committee as opposed to a leadership role. So Gil and Todd have stepped up and will serve in that position.
Great.
Once you learn that the tree volcanoes are not good, you'll never look at the community the same.
I know.
You'll-
I know. I thought they looked pretty, and I thought that's what all I see. And I was like, oh, that should be what, I aspire to. And now I'm like, nope.
Yep, it's wrong. I
It's
think
wrong.
it has to do with the roots need oxygen or exposure or
I
something.
think it's also bad to be up against the trunk. So, it's definitely not good for the trees. The other thing I learned was all those vines that you see climbing the trees, looks all green and lush. It's terrible for the trees. They're mostly invasive, and you need to cut them at the base so that they die. And we've had a project once or twice along the Mile Pond Trail to do that. But, yeah, I'm out there with clippers now, clipping all the vines that look like they were green and pretty and are killing the trees.
That's right. No HPC meeting this month, and then Seniors and Citizens in Need will be meeting this Thursday at 8:30.
All right, well, the Bel Air Downtown Alliance met on the 17th, and a lot of exciting things. You've got the Chocolate Brew and Wine Tour, March 7th, and they had to increase the number this year up to 400 because they sell out. So
Wow.
that's exciting. And drum roll, the summer movies are, they've got them, so this is very exciting. Angela, am I allowed to say what they are? The summer movies?
I guess so. I don't know if the Alliance has announced them yet.
Well, we'll wait for
Or
them to
not?
announce it, but they
Yeah.
are, my grandchildren approved. They're very
Okay.
excited, very
Great.
excited for it, so we won't, but they have that, so that's exciting. Also, another, just a real honor, but Jenny is part of this Aspiring Communities, is mentoring another person that serves in her role on the Eastern Shore about Main Street and what they've done for Main Street. So I just thought that was really amazing that they did that. And the Bel Air Barbecue Bash is now going to have it's called the Mabus State Cup Trophy. Now, I'm not sure what that is, but that's really big in the barbecue world. So that's kind of exciting that that's coming there. Cultural Arts met also last week, and one thing that came up, they looked at their rules and regulations. And is it okay to share that about they wanted to, in there it said that a majority, it said that 3 would be a quorum, but they have 9, so they would like to have that as a majority. And I think that came up in one of your meetings also too, Gavin, with one of your committees, because I think, or was it? Oh, it was Jake.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
Economic
sorry
and
about
Community
that.
Development. Yeah,
There you go.
we recently changed that.
So the other thing that's exciting that's coming up too is that we have a student art show that will be in the library, and that is in April. Pardon? May. Oh, May. I'm sorry. That got the wrong one there. So that. And I think that was about it.
Well, that was a pretty good list.
Thanks. Yes.
And there will be right now, there's no Board of Appeals meeting for this month or probably next month. Probably. And then Planning Commission, was McFall Station coming, the shopping center?
McPhail Crossing, and then 3 submissions from the Hartford Mall.
Okay, will be coming in February.
In
Or March, I'm sorry.
Next week,
March.
yeah.
Right, next week. Okay. Yeah, we don't have the package yet, right?
What?
We don't have the package out yet?
No.
Right, okay.
I should be able to finish. I'm just now getting agency comments back, so it'd probably be tomorrow or the next day.
Okay.
All right. If we have nothing more to report, we'll move on to the staffing update. Mike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We recently posted a position online for a police recruit and/or a lateral officer. So we're interested in bringing aboard another police officer, whether that is from someone with an allied agency or the credentials to be a police officer in the state of Maryland, or someone interested in pursuing a career in policing. We can potentially put them through the academy. So If you know anybody who's interested in becoming a Bel Air police officer, please ask them to apply. We also posted the position for a police dispatcher. Both of these are full-time, and if anybody's knows someone interested in being a police dispatcher, that application is also on the website. Will be up for the next couple weeks, and we'll evaluate the applicant pool at that time to see if we need to extend it or the job may be paused, and we'll start recruiting or start interviewing.
All right. And it looks like we have a couple of things coming up very quickly. Natalie Weeks on cultural arts, and Jay Allenby will be coming up, as will Don Coates, all in March. So I think we need to reach out and see if those folks are interested in serving again, so we know how to move forward. All right, calendar. I don't think I got a new calendar.
Which I neglected to print. I'm just actually jumping on my computer thinking I'll email you a copy.
There you go. I think there were a couple of things that were calendar items. I'm looking on my, I'm not sure I can remember exactly when, but I thought we had a couple of conflicts. One is on, I believe, April the 28th. I'm not sure. Do you remember when they were?
I don't,
All right, I'll have to check my calendar, and
but they weren't for a couple of months.
they weren't, that's what I was thinking. They weren't out, but it's nice to,
April the 28th, there's a budget work session at 4:30.
okay. All right, you know what it was? It's May the 26th. We have a, May the 26th, we have a work session, but there's a candidates forum
Yes.
that I know several of us would like to attend. So look at May the 26th, and the 25th is Memorial Day, which is why no, it's a work session, so it's a Tuesday anyway. So the 26th is, we want to look to move that. And it will be after all of our budget sessions are completed, so at least that won't complicate it. So if everyone could check their calendar in May, and I thought there was one other one, but I will have to take a look. Because I'm not coming up with it right now. Well, I'll go through my calendar in more detail and try to figure that out. But that was one of the one. I think there's one more somewhere. Anything else on the calendar that anybody has? Welcome back, Steve, from the nice tan. Hope you enjoyed your welcome back snow event.
No, I did not. I did not.
Neither did I. All right, miscellaneous. All right, how about staff comments? Let's start with Mike. Mike, comments? No? All right. Kevin? All right, and soon you really won't have any comments because you'll be enjoying yourself somewhere else and won't be here. Speak now, you have a few opportunities left. Lisa? Angela?
I have one quick thing just to add to what Commissioner Foss said from her Cultural Arts report. The Cultural Arts Commission will be doing an America 250 student art show at the Bel Air Public
that's cool.
Library in the their exhibit room. We have done art shows there before. This time the commission has asked that we have added to your commissioner's calendar a special evening where all of you can come and meet with Cultural Arts in the exhibit to see the student artwork. So they have, and you'll see on your calendar, May 13th at 4 o'clock in that exhibit room. So they extend an invitation for you to join them then.
All right. That looks like a terrific time at 4 p.m., so I will count on being there. And I
And-
remember they had the Main Street
Yes, that's right.
storefronts that were
Yeah.
in there.
Yep, we've
That was
done
really cool.
a few exhibits. We did a student art exchange with our sister city in Narva, Estonia, several years ago. And then we also, as you recalled, had the Emerton Elementary School Main Street exhibit that
Right.
was part of the Bel Air 150. That was really fun.
That was
So
fun.
We've had a great partnership with the library in doing art exhibits there, and hope that continues.
All right. That was
So-
fun. They did a great job on those storefronts.
Yeah, the last one we had, I think over 700 people, Kristen, came through the last art exhibit that we had there. Yeah. And that was another student exhibit just last year that we worked with the art instructor that from Bel Air High School, Bel Air Elementary School. I feel like there's a third, I don't think
Homestead?
it was the middle school. It might have been Homestead. Yeah, I can't recall. But we had a number of schools that participated.
So will this be art exhibit for all age groups? I mean, all grades? Or is this just,
Yes, I believe so.
yeah, good.
It'll be extended to that. I also forgot to bring up the fact that the Maryland 250, the Historical Society applied for a grant, and there's going to be 8 panels along Gordon Street, and it's going to be with an art contest with students, and this will be artistic renderings of the Declaration of Independence, which is really going to be neat. And there'll be a July reading of that, actually be July 9th when they do the actual reading of it. But that's really exciting right there along that little stretch there.
And I believe, is that dependent on their receiving the grant funding, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so we'll keep you posted on that.
All right, sounds like fun. Mr. Stephen Klein, you don't have anything to say? You're too tired after the second snow event of the season? Nothing to say. All right. Chief? All good? All right, commissioners' comments. Shout out to Public Works. I saw that private trash haulers did not pick up trash today, but the town did pick up trash.
Yes, ma'am, and with that, I often talk about the great job that the guys do with the street plowing and so forth, but the refuse guys, before they even go out and do the refuse collection, they're responsible for plowing shoveling all the sidewalks in town, and so I got to give them a big hand of credit because they have a lot on their plate on snow days, and they do an excellent job. So kudos to them.
I would second that.
Yep.
They do a great job.
Yeah.
And the town roads get plowed so quickly. I
Yeah.
am always very impressed with how fast they move that snow and then pick up the trash. So
Yeah.
I'll be putting my trash cans out tonight for tomorrow's pickup.
Yep, great. We have a great team, and I'm really proud of them. Thank you.
And I appreciate how locked and loaded we were, ready to go. There was a little bit of an internal debate in my household about whether or not we would even get snow or whether it would all be rain. I did win that debate. I was pretty certain that we were going to get some good snow, but I had the inside track on that. And last night I saw the plow come by twice. So again, just continues to be that highest level of service that I know our constituents really appreciate.
I texted Steve, the plow just went by. I said, so I could go out, but I'm not going to go out because I'm going to stay home, safe and dry and warm. But if I needed to, I could go anywhere if anything was open. So great job. And I know they spent a lot of hours doing that. All right. Anything from anyone else?
Just to inform everybody, Saturday morning I met with a group called Gumbo, Gunpowder United Mountain Bikers Organization. We met over at the Lower Liriodendron parking lot. And the idea is there's a section of wooded area between the parking lot and the Ma and Pa Trail. And the idea would be to do a progressive jump line / pump track where, kids and adults, you can go and ride your bike. It's sort of a self-contained loop, whereas there's a couple trails that go down the hill and then you go back up. So this would be a county project, not related to the town, other than I think it would greatly benefit the town because, place for kids to go and ride their bike that's nearby, accessible from the Ma and Pa Trail. So I'm very hopeful that this, goes through. I know somebody in the Parks and Rec department, so I've been working with them. So I'll keep everybody updated on that.
Hey, Gavin, not to interrupt you, but on that, I know it's really funny you bring up the pump park. Wakar down in planning has been pinning my ear about one of those in town since he's gotten here. So if there is any need for Bel Air participation, I'm sure he could add some good input.
Okay.
Because he's seen them out in California and stuff like that and knows how they all work and so forth.
That would be great, yeah.
Okay.
And
Yep,
I'm
you're
all
welcome.
for paths that are bike paths that are,
Off
not,
the
not
road.
with cars where, kids and adults can have fun and be safe. And I know I think we had somebody come here and say they wanted that kind of a thing in town. So I think that would be terrific because I know it's like not exactly in town, but all of our residents will be able to use it. So I think it'd be terrific.
Yeah. And then I've spoken to most of you already. We are working on drafting a resolution to retain the courthouse where it is. We got an email from Downtown Alliance today saying that they're going to be submitting a letter of opposition to the move, which is very good. I think tomorrow night at Hartford Night in Annapolis, I'm going to try and speak to as many people as well that I think would have an interest in doing something like that as well.
I had spoken to Delegate Steve Johnson, and he thought it was a good idea. He thought it made sense. So he was like on board with it, and I'm not sure if anybody would really be opposed to it. We just can't seem to figure out what button to push to get somebody to change their mind about what they're doing.
What did he think was a good idea?
He thought it was a good idea to keep the courthouse here and open a satellite courthouse in the Route 40 corridor.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry. No, he was supporting because my idea had been in Baltimore County, there's the Towson Circuit Court and there's the Towson District Court, but there are also district court locations in Essex, Dundalk, Owings Mills, Catonsville, all around the county to serve the residents that live there because, it can be quite a haul and take you a while to get to other locations. I mean, I think it would be a great idea. It would preserve what we've built here, which is quite a lot has grown up around the courthouse, attorneys' offices, other associated services. The attorneys can walk back and forth between the courthouses so they can, get more business done without holding up the courts. I think it's good for the courts. And then, if we have a satellite location in Route 40, all of the businesses and residents who live on that side of the county will also have a convenient courthouse location for them. They'll probably have a growth around the location, lunch places and attorneys' offices and other things. And I just think it would be really a win-win for the entire county if we did that instead of the current plan, which, I don't understand the location either. First of all, it's taken 3 businesses off our tax rolls. So we lost about $76,000 a year in revenue because we're now not getting any revenue for the courthouse location and not any revenue for the businesses that they purchased. The other thing is, I don't know, where are they going to park? How is that walkable? And I thought there was a big push towards, having everything located so you could walk from place to place and, park your car once and get out if you're coming from, Towson, if you're an attorney from there or you're a witness or whatever. So I just think it makes a tremendous amount of sense for everyone, a win-win.
As opposed to the current plan, which is a lose-lose.
It is a lose-lose.
So, I mean, certainly if I'm Route 40, I'm far more interested in having a location closer to me because the current plan does not help me one bit. Maybe shaves 3 minutes off the commute up Route 24, and that's about it. And it also rips the heart out of downtown Bel Air and makes us unhappy. So you're not helping Route 40 and you're really hurting us. You could do something where, keep us with what we have. We like what we have. It works. And do something that would be a worthwhile investment in Route 40. That should, in theory, unify the Hartford County delegation around that proposal. But as Delegate Johnson pointed out, they're not the ones necessarily in charge. They have certainly a weighty voice, but it's not their decision to make. So keep pushing at it.
All right, we'll work on it.
I mean, we talked about this a while back, about getting other organizations. Gavin, you were saying who was going to put together
Yes, we've put together a rough draft, if you will.
this is
And
from what organization, for what group?
well, the Downtown Alliance, they
The
put
Downtown
something together.
Alliance,
They
okay.
plan on submitting. And then, Greater Bel Air Foundation, we created a list of a few different that we'd like to reach out to and say, here's what we're doing. We'd like you guys to jump on
Right.
board.
So why aren't we doing that too? The town? Why
Oh, we
doesn't
are.
the
Oh,
town
we're
come
going to.
up?
We're going to pass a resolution.
Okay.
I think you missed that part.
Oh, I
But they're
missed it.
working on
Okay.
drafting a resolution, but we also like to see that our businesses and other people are
Right.
in favor of it. And I think I'm gonna reach out to a
And-
couple of the Route 40 organizations and see,
See,
Yeah.
you know,
Can't
and the
hurt.
bar, the local bar.
local bar.
Will they, I mean, have we contacted them? Should we contact them and say, well, let them come on board? It's affecting their work environment.
Good idea.
Betty?
We're like 5 steps ahead of you.
Okay.
You're still on beach time. So,
While you were gone.
you're still on island time. Commissioner Haley and I have spoken at length this week by email and by phone, and we have a fairly exhaustive list of
Good.
places to start. And so much so that we're calling a meeting for next week, so we can chart a path. So we can,
Good.
go through this exercise, identify who could be supportive, how can we approach them, what was their resolution look like, et cetera, so to work that out. Because there's, again, Route 40 business, there's a whole bunch of people out there that would probably support this. But just in the phone conversation, we had a half dozen. I'm sure there's a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna be a little bit of legwork. We wanna make sure we're helping Gavin chart, construct the right message. Or not the right message, but the right pathway.
Right. Okay.
The Economic and Community Development Commission at their February meeting also discussed putting this on their agenda for the March meeting. So they will be discussing it in March as well, and they
Great.
would be in support of the opposition. On the same page.
It's funny because I really haven't heard anybody that was not in support of this IBD, because it's not just, we want to keep what we have, it's, here's a better solution. And I just, nobody has said, I don't like that idea, so I'm perplexed, but
This all took place right in the months before I started. Talked to the chief judge, the district court, Chief Judge Morrissey. He said they walked the property, and that's what they found. So I have no idea who they talked to, who directed them there. They just, when I called him, he said it was a done deal.
I think I know who that was, and I'm going to call that person to just see if, like, what happened?
Yeah.
How did this come about, and why are we locked into this? Because I'd heard some rumors that it has to be in town, and it's got to be so many acres and all this sort of stuff, and I'm like, I don't know how that came about, and why no other options were considered, because it's really, the state is broke, and the reason there's no courthouse standing is because they don't have any money. And they have a bunch of other projects that are very pressing that they need to devote funds to, expensive ones. I don't understand why it's not a good idea from the state of Maryland's perspective to keep what they have and renovate it for whatever the problems are. That's the other thing I'm not really clear about, is why they want to abandon that building and build another one. Is it they don't have enough space? I don't understand that.
When I met with Judge Hazlitt, she was one of the leaders of this, and she walked me through the courthouse, district court. Building was built in 1984, and the section I walked through with her at district court was not secure. Judges, inmates were in the same hallways. Hallways were at most 48 inches wide, so your threat level was there for them. They just didn't like the security. The HVAC system was in horrible condition. One of the judges actually showed me where in the ceiling of their office they had a gutter, and the gutter had a hose, and the hose had a petcock valve on it, and when it rained, they opened the petcock up, the hose drained into a bucket. So I thought, okay, point made. So safety and security was a big one. HVAC and roof leaks were another one. I never really walked through the not juvenile services, but fire marshal and the other side of the building. I would assume they might have had similar problems. That was what Judge Hazlitt pointed
I
out.
had water in my basement, and I installed a sub pump. I did not bulldoze the house.
Yeah.
I just, those things are maintenance issues, and whatever building you have is going to have those after a while. I just don't see the need for a new building.
The
but
security issues I understood.
The security issues
yeah,
are a
that-
bigger factor.
That was definitely a bigger factor when I met
Yeah.
with her and walked the hall, and having been an officer in that court. But again, I can't tell you Judge Marcy was pleasant, but he was very much confident that they weren't going anywhere else but Marketplace Drive and 24.
All right.
Sell the properties and use that money to renovate. Okay, still get a couple million for the properties. I know that's not going to, that's a
Drop in the bucket.
drop in a bucket on the reno, but anyway.
They have 128
helps.
million that's budgeted.
What's that?
Yeah, I think in the budget, correct me if I'm wrong, Eddie, that's 128 million.
124 in the FY '28 capital improvement.
Yeah.
For a new
for the new
courthouse.
courthouse.
Correct,
For a
but
new courthouse.
That gets you a lot of
further out it
repairs.
goes, the more that's
Yes.
gonna
Yeah.
go up. Yeah.
Right, that'll go along with repairs in a smaller building, yep.
Yeah. All right. So, any more commissioners' comments? In that case, may I have a motion to move us into closed session?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that this portion of the meeting will be closed under the provisions of the Maryland Open Meetings Act, General Provisions, Article 3, Section 305B1. The topic of discussion will be to discuss the appointment of officials to the Cultural Arts Commission and to discuss the appointment of the Director of Planning and Zoning. The reason for closed session discussion of the above topics will be because public discussion of candidates' names, qualifications, experience, and background could discourage people from volunteering for public service or compromise their privacy rights, and because public discussion of personnel matters could compromise applicants' privacy rights.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Chismar. Any discussion of the motion? All right, we will be going into closed session as soon as we vote, and we will not be conducting any further public business, but be adjourning at the end of our closed session. So, Mr. Krantz, we're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the vote to go into closed session, Commissioner Foss,
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Hanley,
Aye.
and Chair Edding.
Aye.
We are now entering closed session. Thank you.